The Shadow Animatronics are one of FNaF's greatest unsolved mysteries. I think people just forgot about it and just called it like a little fun Easter egg. But I believe a lot of people sleep on the relevance they had in FNaF 3. So in this video we're going to be trying to solve that mystery in a series that I'm going to start doing, in which I solve some of the hardest FNaF mysteries. So without anything else to say, let's get this video started. So the first thing we gotta talk about is the appearances in games and what role did they have. Both Shadow Bonnie and Freddy first appeared in FNaF 2, like a fun little Easter egg, but also being somewhat aggressive to the player. If you were to stare at them, they would eventually crash your game. But that's pretty much it for them in FNaF 2. FNaF 2 was just the first appearance. They were a little fun Easter egg, but in FNaF 3 is where they start having major lore implications. Even though they don't physically appear, we see them in minigames which appear to be really important. Let me explain. In one of the minigames we have Shadow Bonnie giving gifts to kids, and this is confirmed thanks to the character Encyclopedia. Even though the bug was pretty trash, it does confirm the fact that Shadow Bonnie was actually trying to help kids by freeing them in a way, and basically kind of giving them gifts, kind of like what the puppet was doing. And it's actually confirmed that he appeared in FNaF 3. Even though he didn't have any physical appearances. But Shadow Freddy was the one that had some major roles. In the minigame, he's shown to guide the animatronics towards William Afton, in a way trying to get revenge of what happened to the kids. But to solve this theory, we gotta figure out what their purpose was, their motives, and what they're actually made of. So first I wanna tackle that first one, what they're made of. And for that we need to go all the way to FNaF AR. Yeah, no, nobody likes that game, but oh well. So in FNaF AR, Shadow Bonnie once again takes on a really important role. He's the main antagonist, basically the main boss. And in order for him to be summoned, you need to collect Remnant. And to get Remnant, you need to get animatronics. But once you get that Remnant, it comes with its counterpart in a way, Dark Remnant. That Dark Remnant, once you have enough of it, you summon Shadow Bonnie, which kind of gives us a hint that he's made out of this dark remnant substance. So if you don't know what remnant is, if you want me to do a whole video about explaining everything about FNaF, then I'll probably make one, but just leave it down in the comments down below. But those who already know what remnant is basically when a children dies inside of an animatronic, its soul infuses with the metal, and that metal, once melted, becomes into remnant. Or when he dies, he turns into remnant, which is kind of like the remains of a ghost, pretty much. Now, in the actual games, it's not really considered dark remnant. It's actually considered agony. The agony, the pain of what the kids had to suffer. And well, that leads to the question, then how are they made of this dark substance called agony? Well, I believe both Shadow Bonnie and Freddy are tied to the missing children's incident. So first I want to tackle Shadow Freddy. Shadow Freddy, I believe, got created after the first missing children incident, specifically Cassidy's death. Basically, on what they have told us, Cassidy is the one you shouldn't have killed. The way she was killed probably would have produced enough agony to create this shadowy animatronic. And I can back this up thanks to the character Encyclopedia. If you go to the Shadow Freddy section, you can see how they keep calling out his similarities, or the way he was designed was exactly like Golden Freddy's. So I believe Shadow Freddy is made from the first missing children incident, and specifically the agony of Cassidy. The agony of all that together, plus the vengeful spirit, turned into what we see now as Shadow Freddy. That explains his appearance, why he looks like a Gen 1 animatronic, and why he looks a little bit more like Golden Freddy. This would also explain my next point, which is the Shadow animatronic's purpose. Shadow Freddy's purpose was to get revenge, to make Afton pay for what he did. And I can back this up in two ways. First, FNaF World. I know this. This is the worst game ever, but like we gotta talk about it. In FNaF world, Shadow Freddy is a really aggressive character, one shot one kill type shit character, and this makes sense with his purpose. He's trying to get revenge. He's more of an aggressive, it's a darker version of Golden Freddy, aka Cass. This would also explain why he was trying to take you towards William Afton in the FNaF 3 minigames. Now moving on to Shadow Bonnie, I think he's a little bit less of a complex character. And I also think he's made from the same thing, which is agony, but his purpose is a little bit different. Its purpose is to protect, to give back what has been stolen from the kids, similar to what the puppet was doing. So I believe he was made from the second missing children incident. That's why its design is really similar to the Toy Bonnie design. That would also make sense, since Shadow Freddy looks pretty similar to the Gen 1 animatronics. Shadow Bonnie looks like the new toy animatronics. Now it's also another theory that he was created from the puppet's agony, aka when Charlie was killed, it released agony, and that agony turned, part of that agony turned into what we know now as Shadow Bonnie. But that could potentially make sense, but taking in mind Charlie's been there for years now. So this is where my theory comes in. That's one theory, keep that in mind. This is the other theory. Both of them could potentially be right, so take this with a grain of salt. I believe Toy Bonnie adapted the wheel that Henry Emily created the toy animatronics with. They were created to protect. They had the face scan system, which allowed them to detect the predator within miles away. And once again, going to FNaF world, Shadow Bonnie is more of a defensive support type character, which also makes sense to what I'm saying right now. And that's pretty much it, except for one little tiny detail. And that's pretty much it. I think I know where they come from, but there's one thing in the character encyclopedia that grabbed my attention, specifically on the Shadow Freddy page. You see this line right here, which got me thinking, are they important right now in the current game, aka FNaF Security Breach? And that's when Game Theory made a new video and said this. Before I play this clip, I want to say that in my last theory, but I actually got some of the things right, and even MatPat said them. But to be fair, I did get some of my info from ID's Fantasy, but actually most of it I did find already. I was just chilling, looking for some shit on the internet, on Safari, and I actually found a couple of things on Reddit. But I did use her video, so I don't want any credit for it. She did all the work, but just wanted to say that, you know, first W type shit.
From Afton's testing, she knew that both light and dark remnant existed, one of positive emotions and the other created from anguish, anger, agony. Perhaps this thing was an amalgamation of all the darkest parts of the pizzeria's history, a collection of the hatred still housed inside these defunct endoskeletons and exosuits. As long as it was left alone, it seemed to be harmless, but if any Afton outside of Michael got too close, it would lash out wildly.
Everything I just said combined with what MatPat had to say in his video makes me think that in technicality, Shadow Freddy and Bonnie are inside the blob, and therefore the blob was created with agony, which means technically they are back inside of the blob. That's a little bit of a stretch, but take in mind it actually does make sense if you, listen to the theory and listen to what MatPat has to say. It makes sense even though they don't have their physical appearances. Agony is a sort of spirit. So that's a pretty good theory right there. Yeah, that's pretty much it with this theory. I actually feel pretty confident. I think we actually cracked this one. Everything sounds solid. There's enough evidence to back everything up. Overall, I think we actually nailed this one. So I declare the first video as a solved mystery. Let me know in the comments down below which other unsolved mystery you want me to do. And I'm sorry I took forever for this upload. I'm trying to give y'all premium quality content, and it takes a long time to edit, especially when I'm in school and I'm doing other things, so forgive me for that. But anyways, peace out.